Hello to all those interested in near-death experiences. Welcome to another experience. On a day in November of 2005, I, an expert in political affairs at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, was going to the office as usual. That day, I entered the elevator alone. I felt a fist hitting my stomach. I felt a sudden pain and bent over for a moment. Later, I went to the third floor and sat in my office. The pain in my stomach was very severe. I felt like I might have been poisoned. I stood up and drank a glass of water. I felt the pain intensify. My left hand started to hurt. It felt like someone was sawing my hand. I endured the pain, but I noticed that my jaw had tightened like iron. I realized my condition was very critical, and I was in severe pain. I had a heart attack, but I didn't know it myself. One of my colleagues came and took me to Sina Hospital. The doctor there, upon seeing me, diagnosed me with having had a heart attack. He said to take an ECG. I wouldn't allow it and kept saying my heart was fine. I think I might have been poisoned. But when they took an ECG of me, they said you've had a heart attack. You've come to the hospital very late. The doctor came and connected me to the monitor. I asked my friend to call my wife and tell her that I've had a heart attack so she can come to the hospital. My wife immediately contacted a charity to sacrifice 14 sheep for my health and then headed to the hospital. The doctor was working on resuscitating me while my heart stopped beating. I heard the sound of the monitor beeping and the line showing my heartbeats flatlining. This incident that happened, I left this world. For a moment, I saw the scene in the hospital change. The space darkened. I saw thousands of people standing in front of me. I was terrified. It was a question to me where I was. It felt like 10,000 people were standing in front of me. I don't know if it was a hospital there or not, but I know the scene changed. I was very scared. I said, "Ya Fatima al-Zahra." Fatima is the name of Prophet Muhammad's daughter, Hazrat Muhammad, peace be upon him. I saw a gentleman beside me. He put his hand on my shoulder and said, "Don't worry, they want to take you to heaven." As soon as he said this, I and the bed I was lying on went up like an elevator. Like a glass elevator revealing the outside, I saw the layers of heaven. Along with the bed I was lying on, I was going up. I passed the first to the third floors, and when I reached the fourth floor, the bed stopped for a moment. I saw in front of my eyes very tall men in Arab dress walking. They were walking on their tiptoes. I asked the gentleman next to me why they were walking on their tiptoes. He gestured to me. The meaning of the gesture was to be silent. We moved to higher floors. We stopped on another floor. As we stood still, I saw a vast desert. Millions of people, dressed in white shrouds, were sitting there. Some were shaking themselves while sitting. Some had their knees hugged. Some were sitting in a corner and crying. On the other side, there were people doing nothing. All those present were looking at me. For a moment, I felt the sound of Quran recitation. He was reciting this verse. I listened carefully and saw that it was my own voice.
ورحمة للمؤمنين ولا يزيد الظالمين إلا خسارا.
The translation of this verse. And we send down of the Quran that which is healing and mercy for the believers, but it does not increase the wrongdoers except in loss. As I was listening, that gentleman was still standing next to my bed. The murmuring of the people who were there was audible, and they were all looking at me. The gentleman next to me told me to look at the corner of the bed. When I looked at the bed's corner, I saw a cleric with a black turban. If I were to describe the physique of that man, I would say he was stout. Shiite clerics wear a black turban on their heads. If a person is a descendant of the Imams of Shia Muslims, they are called Sayyid. Sayyids wear black turbans, whereas those who are not Sayyids wear white turbans. Sayyids tie their green scarves in a specific way. The man stepped forward and stood next to my bed. He was very beautiful with large eyes. I had never seen such beauty in a man before. I wanted to greet him, but I noticed my mouth was locked and I couldn't speak. I tried 3 times to shake my head to greet him, but I couldn't. However, he nodded and responded. The sound of the Quran was still audible. He was looking towards me. He gestured to the gentleman next to me with the back of his hand to bring me back to the world. When this command was given, I returned to the hospital and sat on the bed. Those around me were murmuring that a Quran reciter had passed away. As soon as I sat down, someone shouted, "He's been revived." Send blessings. Blessings are a form of greeting Muslims used to send salutations to Prophet Muhammad and his family. Everyone sent blessings. I saw my wife crying. I also called out the name of the daughter of Prophet Muhammad, whose name is Fatima Zahra, and said, "Ya Zahra."
Yes, Sare.
I asked the doctor if I had died. He said, "Yes, you had passed away." They had even written a letter for my transfer to the morgue. They wanted to take me to the morgue. The doctor explained that if a person's heartbeat stops for 20 to 25 seconds, they can be resuscitated. But if it's longer than that, the person won't return to life, even with electric shocks. He said my heart had stopped for 2 minutes and 55 seconds. The doctor said, "When someone told me you were a Quran reciter, it felt like a voice told me not to go and to be patient. This man is going to return to life." The nurses had left. I hoped you would return, and thank God you did return to life. They transferred me to another hospital, and I was hospitalized there for 13 days. After some time, I went to meet our leader with a group of Quran reciters. In a private meeting, I told him that I had had a heart attack and then recounted the story to him. Our leader, Mr. Said Ali Khamenei, said you should thank God that you were brought back to this world because of the Quran and the Imams. Whenever you hear the call to prayer, give thanks to God. He said since this incident happened on the night of the martyrdom of Imam Sadiq, and based on your descriptions, Imam Ali or Imam Sadiq brought you back to life. Our leader talked about those who walked on their tiptoes, that on the day of judgment, those who were oppressors in this world would find the ground so hot that they wouldn't be able to place their feet on it. He said you were in the purgatory. I don't know if there is such a punishment for such individuals in the purgatory or not. I have to ask someone about this,